Alrighty, guys, welcome to the Business Growth Podcast. Today I'm here with Nick from Ginger Bucks. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Hiya, thank you for having me.
No worries, I'm looking forward to having a good chat. So tell us a little bit more about Ginger Bucks and like what you guys do.
Sure. So, a little bit of an intro. I'm Nick, also known as the Ginger Accountant.
Mhm.
Very dark this morning, so you can't really see the ginger coming through, but it's definitely there.
Yeah.
Me. Ginger Books, I founded 2 years ago, and it really came off the back of a desire to want to do more, not just in business, but for myself as well. And
Okay.
I had this vision of being able to work alongside traveling. And this was like a big dream. So set up the practice, started working on it, and I set it up digital first, working with founders so I could work from anywhere in the world. It offers end-to-end solutions. So we offer packages that give either bookkeeping reviews or doing the bookkeeping for them. So we know that all the financial records are correct, and then followed on by some compliance support in the lower end packages. And then as you work through the packages, you get your monthly or quarterly hand-holding support on management accounts, cash flow forecasting, the actual tools that help you aid to grow your business.
Yeah.
So we are really providing that one-stop shop for small businesses.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And then so you said your goal was to work alongside, did you say traveling or did I
Traveling. Yeah, traveling.
traveling.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I thought traveling was like a person or something. Okay, cool. So work and be able to travel. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to travel. I mean, I started doing it this year,
Yeah.
in June. I took my first trip, which should have been 5 months, but I had some unfortunate family news. I had a
Yeah.
passing in the family, so I come back home. But I started
Mhm.
off traveling in Bali. I was supposed to do Bali for 3 months, and then
Nice.
Thailand for a month, and then Australia for a month, and then I was going to come home. So I was actually supposed to still be there right now, but
Okay.
just didn't align properly with obviously bereavement and stuff like that. But yeah, so
Gotcha.
that's the plan to go ahead again next year
Mhm.
and do the same again.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, cool. Like anything to escape the UK weather, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've done quite a lot of traveling myself. And then so in terms of like you help a lot with a bunch of different things for the businesses. What would you say is like the key things that you help businesses for? Like what's kind of like the main thing that you would say you do? And then also, I guess, what type of business?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I say what type of business, I don't really have a niche, as in like a
Okay.
specific industry.
Yeah.
My real superpower that I say I have is the fact that I come from industry rather than practice. So
Hmm.
for me, I worked in construction, motor trade, retail, engineering. So I have a lot of experience in quite different size businesses as well, and seeing
Hmm.
how they function. And I think that's a real superpower with me, that I can come
Yeah.
in and actually see, right, where is your account function at, and where does it connect with all of the other departments as well to make it really, really work.
Yeah.
Um, so that's sort of where I sit. So I say founders. Founders is who I want to work with, people that
Okay.
don't really have much experience doing it themselves, maybe first time founder, or maybe a
Mhm.
founder a couple of few times into it, but never found the right accountant to work with. But in
Mhm.
terms of really what I support with them most and foremost is always their compliance. A lot of all clients want that first and foremost, making sure that end of year
Mhm.
accounts are submitted on time, all of their tax returns are done and complete, and they don't have to worry about it. So that is really forefront of everybody's package. In terms of the second point, it really is the bookkeeping. It's that day-to-day
Mhm.
grind of, have I got the right receipt? Is that bank reconciled properly? Are all my creditors paid? Are all my debtors paying me? Making sure all
Yeah.
of these things are in order, and taking
Mhm.
that responsibility from from the client so they can live a bit more day-to-day pace free and just see the money land in their bank account rather than doing all the worrying prior to it. Um,
Mhm.
that really is our sweet spot at the moment. But
Yeah.
we have a few clients that we do some more advisory stuff for.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good situation. Just watching money land in your bank account. I think everyone would be happy with that. And then, so you said you've started it pretty recently. I think you said like about 2 years ago. You've
Yeah.
got about 60 clients now. How did you kind of go about getting those 60 clients, especially in this like day and age where everyone thinks everything is a scam and no one trusts anyone and all that kind of stuff? So what's kind of been like, how did you build up to that like clientele?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I took a few different routes before finding my ground, but it really come from building brand. And that's when I
Mhm.
really started to see, really saw the evolution of Ginger Books was when that brand started being created and you stop going chasing for clients and having them proposal calls that you get ghosted from and then just trying to push it. You go from actually having that situation where you are chasing the dollar to actually having the
Mhm.
money to you and the clients come and land at your doorstep. And that's come from the halo effect that I've built of Ginger Books. It's quite funny because Ginger Books is a name. Anytime anyone hears it, they're like, oh my God, that's such a good name. And I think that's really stuck. So I've been really grateful for that to have such a memorable business name that anyone's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's really quite cool. But I think it's everything that is associated with the name creating a really good brand and being sure that we're helpful, being sure we're approachable, that we are communicative, we're proactive, and that really comes through on our social media. And that is
Yeah.
really where we go for all of our clients. We use Instagram and LinkedIn primarily for all of our
Yeah.
lead generation. So that's where we get out and go. But building that brand isn't easy. It takes a good bit of time for it
Oh yeah.
to work. So it's that
Yeah.
consistency and that persistence with it too.
Oh yeah. 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 Definitely. Yeah. Organic marketing. Once you have it working, it's happy
Mm,
days. But getting it to that level, yeah, definitely takes a lot of time. I find.
yeah.
And then so like walk us through a little bit more in terms of like how did you specifically go about building that brand? Like what things did you do? What's kind of like your content strategy? How did you get to having clients come to you as opposed to you chasing the clients?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing I really did was I didn't actually just go out and say, right, I need to build a brand. I was quite not, I don't want to say not confident. I don't think that was a word, but definitely had these perceptions of what people would have thought about me in my hometown, previous work, jobs that I'd worked in. I was quite nervous and apprehensive about putting myself forward, and it was very much like I
Hmm.
would go really hard at one point and do loads of content and then have a really long period of not doing any content because it was just felt like I would have this overwhelming anxiety that had come through from it. And that's normal to feel when you start putting yourself out there. And I wouldn't say that I
Yeah.
had a strategy to start off with. I then found a business coach and invested in this coach. And one of the main things he stresses about is building that brand. So my first bits of advice really came from him, and it was building that halo effect. And you build that
Mhm.
halo effect by putting yourself out there, but in different ways. Do you use your own social media and your own content strategy, which was one of the ones that I went for. I have a social
Mhm.
media team that helps me now with the Ginger Books page on Instagram, which they're
Yeah.
a great team, great strategy. A lot of around it is making sure that financial literacy is accessible and business literacy is accessible in a financial way, but
Mhm.
also showing that in a woman entrepreneurship empowerment way as well. I want to make sure that all the women founders out there feel like they can have somebody that even if they just land on my page and just have a little look through and never reach out, but pick up some gems through it, then that's
Yeah.
great. But also a lot of stuff around money mindset. They're really the content strategies we landed on and that felt aligned with the Ginger Books brand. But then we also looked at borrowed time with this business coach. How can I use other people's time or their content strategies and borrow it off them, such as podcasts, going on
Like
podcasts.
modeling.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Going on stuff like that, being on the radio, speaking on stages, going to events, doing panel talks, these
Mm.
type of things that I have started doing over the last 12 to 18 months that are really starting to build up that brand that puts me into a different category almost.
Yeah.
People see that and unconsciously automatically put you on a little bit of a pedestal even though you don't really like you want to feel like you're all the same and you're all on the same level, but naturally people do that. They see the amount of followers you have and they go, oh my God, this person must be important. You're
Yeah.
automatically seen in a higher regard. So that's sort of where we're going at the moment with the brand strategy, being consistent on organic with social media and borrowing time. Thank you for having
Yeah.
me today. This is a great strategy to be using. So definitely recommend
Right.
anyone doing it.
Uh,
But yeah, that's sort of where we're at the moment.
yeah. Okay. I think and it's essentially like leveraging other people's audiences is what when you
Mm,
say borrowing time is that's
yeah.
essentially that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's a with like your content strategy, what like how do you decide what pieces to post? Let's say like on LinkedIn, how do you decide, okay, I should create and post this piece of content?
I think it's looking at what's going on in the market as well. So a lot of the stuff at the moment I know is coming up to tax season in the UK. We have a
Yeah.
deadline at the end of January. So a lot of the talk at the moment is, okay, let's focus on tax. This is the time now where people start to, if they haven't already submitted their return, they're thinking about it, especially before Christmas, because they don't want it
Yeah.
to fill up their time over Christmas. So that is a lot of the strategy at the moment. So we look at the trends of the year. But we really like to stay true to them pillars. And we want to make sure that we are on that all the time because we don't want it to feel like we are jumping on trends all the time. We want to be true to who the brand is and be recognized for what we do. So that's sort of what we do. What I do on LinkedIn as well is take pieces that have done really well before and then try it in different ways, different
Yeah.
wordings, different structures, a list, different photos, and see how they perform
Yeah.
against each other because there's always going to be somebody else that lands on it. And even if somebody's seen it before, you're saying it in a different way anyway. So they're just going to feel like it's more information. And you
Yeah.
repeat the same thing. So you sort of get known for what you're doing, what
Hmm.
your story is and what you're
Yeah.
talking about. So that's a good little strategy that I use on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah. Like essentially like repurposing some old
Hmm.
content as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually like if it's worked in the past, generally it'll work in the future again as well.
Exactly. But also
Yeah.
seeing on the posts that don't really work well, I like to look at them and go, well, why hasn't that worked well? Is it the
Mhm.
structure? Is it the layout? Is it the photo? Is it the time? Is it
Mhm.
the topic? And sort of draw conclusions out of that. And I do repost them as well, and sometimes they do a load better.
Mhm.
It's yeah, it's every post you have to analyze for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty interesting. And then so changing gears a little bit, what would you say is like one of the challenges that you're facing now that you haven't previously faced as you, I guess, keep growing the business?
Yeah, definitely something that I'm facing at the moment within the business is I'm not too sure how it is on your side of the water, but definitely over here I'm finding a lot of businesses are struggling with their finances at the moment, but not just what the finances is. I think it's the time, the effort, and the struggle, the energy, everything that they pour in, like the blood, sweat, and tears into the business. So, and they're getting 2, 3 years in, not really seeing it materialize as much as they wanted to, being really strung out on high costs at the moment, profits are squeezed, and really cash is a problem at the moment. And I'm having a lot of clients come to me going, how do I just close down my company? This is too much for me at the moment. And I think we're definitely seeing that squeeze at the moment, especially in the UK. We usually have a year-on-year increase in small businesses in the UK. But the last year it declined. And I can definitely see 2025 being another year of deficit as well.
Hmm.
Simply by what clients are coming back and feeding back to me about how they're not
Yeah.
quite happy, doesn't make sense for them anymore. They feel more secure in a PAYE job, getting a salary, knowing what they're doing. I have some even retraining in other fields, like they don't even see the point of working in that specific field anymore. They've seen an opportunity somewhere else and want to go there instead. So I
Hmm.
think that is definitely one issue that I'm finding at the moment is having that constant cycle of, okay, that conversation of how do you close down a business? What are the steps that you need to take here in the UK to do that? And then getting that over the line, which I find quite sad. I
Yeah.
find really sad. Um,
Mhm.
because I know how much, as I say, effort, time, money has gone into it.
Oh yeah.
Feels a little bit wasteful, and it also
Mm.
feels not on their part, but I definitely think as an economy, it is definitely wasteful,
Hmm.
which is a massive shame.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I find though as well, like if you look at successful failures, a lot of people like I usually view it more like they did all these other businesses that did fail, and then the successful people they keep going, and then maybe the next business is a success, and you take all the lessons that you learn from that. But typically what I see happen is people they try one business that doesn't work, and then they say being an entrepreneur doesn't work kind of thing. That's definitely even me when I first started, like one my first business didn't really do very well, and then a second business did a little bit better, and then a third business did really well. So I guess like that's also just like a component with
Mhm.
all of that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's definitely a few, as I said, that are like, I want to go try something else. And I think they can definitely be a success. And they can take all of their failures and turn them into lessons for sure. But I think even the people that want to go back into jobs will do it the exact same thing because they're going to be able to feed that back to their employer as well. They've been in their position, they
Yeah.
understand the struggles. So,
Mm.
yeah, I wish them all the best, but I definitely think that is a struggle that a lot of businesses are having in the UK at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then in terms of like ginger bucks, what would you say is like some of the challenges that you're facing as like a business owner?
Yeah, so I think at the moment, there's a little bit of stunted growth that's gone on. We've plateaued. Well, not so much actually. October's looking at our biggest month to date at the moment. So we haven't exactly plateaued, but it feels in terms of lead generation, it's plateauing. I think people are over the last 6 weeks, let's say. But that being said, my attention's actually been diverted elsewhere anyway. I've been participating in a project, which I'll come on to a little bit in a minute. But I think having that time that I'm spending on this project against the time that I would usually take doing the lead gen, doing the
Mm.
outreach, hosting the sales calls, that falls on my shoulders as founder. And
Mm.
I'm finding that I'm being a little bit squeezed at the moment for time with the different things that I have going on. So, blessing in disguise, I definitely think peaks and troughs happens with every business, and I don't want it to be rapidly growing to a point where I can't service the clients that I've already got. I want
Hmm.
to make sure service is right for them. So I think it's a nice balance, but it's definitely a challenge because it definitely niggles in the back of your head going, well, where's the next one going to come from? And where, if you've got these clients that are dropping off and having these conversations, where are you replenishing these? I
Mm.
mean, I wouldn't say they're completely dried up by no chance, but they're definitely slowing down.
Okay. Okay. So it's a matter of more doing a bit more lead gen and getting some, like
Yeah.
more clients coming in.
Yeah, and that comes
Mm.
from I've not run an offer for a while. I've not
Yeah.
put a funnel out there, which
Uh-huh.
comes on to a little bit of what we're going to talk about with this project. But I
Hmm.
think once I've got that offer up and real running, once I've done this sort
Hmm.
of beta version, it'll fly. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then in terms of like processes, do you have like any
Mm.
key processes that you're looking at improving? I find with a lot of like business owners I speak with, they're always like trying to make things more efficient and everything. Do you have any key things in terms of for Ginger Bucks?
Yeah, so I'm a big software freak. I have so many different softwares, all serve their own purpose. But in terms of client facing process, the big one at the moment that I am looking at is the Making Tax Digital, which is the change in tax for income tax in the UK. So going from filing one tax return a year, which could either be through online or through the post, that is changing to 4 quarterly returns with one point declaration at the end.
Yeah.
So that's a big change and impacting quite a lot of people. So, and it all has to be filed digitally. Like everyone has to be on software, everyone has to be on top of their bookkeeping, and that's
Yeah.
going from April 2026. So a lot of my
Mm.
process at the moment is testing that, making sure the clients I have got ready for April 2026 are ready, drawing up what that looks like in terms of workflow, because it is completely different to what a self-assessment workflow is.
Mhm.
So trying to make them lines work for a service that we aren't actually delivering on yet is
Mhm.
pretty challenging, but that is our main focus at the moment, making sure it's
Yeah.
all automated as well.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've heard, yeah, a few people have spoken in the UK changing that, and then I guess the extra workload that's involved with it, because essentially it's
Mm.
almost like four times, not quite the amount of work, but it is quite a bit more, yeah, admin and stuff that you guys would need to be doing.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot more for the client as well, especially if it is that client that likes that once a year touch point, gives a box of receipts at year end. They're now having to be accountable and look after their finances throughout the year, which is a mega shift within itself. And then on top of that, having to file returns.
Yeah.
whether that is with themselves doing it or whether we're supporting it, having that systematic change in your process. And these are
Mhm.
people that could be working for 30 years doing exactly what they're doing. It
Yeah.
is a huge change. So it's not just what is the change on a practice level, but what is a change on a client level and how can we make it meet so we can
Hmm.
work in harmony and in sync, really, rather than
Yeah.
us being miles apart from each other and having no clue what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then so tell us a little bit more about the big project that you had. You said it was $100 million client. Like, I guess, like, firstly, how did you end up getting that client? And then I guess secondly, what's like involved with that? Like, what are you doing for them?
Yeah, so it's a 10 mil pound turnover company, and this project is looking at all of their systems. So they're primarily using Xero as their accounting software, which is fine, not a problem. But these are a construction company that have scaled very quickly in the last 2.5 years. As you can tell, like 10 mil, it's a great turnover to have year to date. Amazing.
Hmm.
But in terms of what that looks like in process, there's an idea of what goes on, but purchase orders weren't being looked after properly. You have a separation of plant, which wasn't looking after properly. All of these variable factors that come into place, which looks like a really nice system workflow for accounts, buy-in, commercial team, and management team, making sure that they're all in harmony. So we've designed this 6 phase process of researching into their processes. What are they currently like? What people don't like about the software? Where could the changes be? And then
Hmm.
second phase is actually designing that workflow out on a beta basis, going, okay, well, off everything you've said, this is what I think that workflow should be. These are the different softwares that would come into place in order to facilitate the changes that you need to reach your goals, which is all found
Hmm.
out in that first process. Then the third phase is oh God, I can't speak. Third phase is implementation. There we go. So we're actually going in, implementing all that software, linking it all into their accounting software, making sure that it is all set up properly. So we've found this one software that is very construction based, which links in with Xero, which facilitates a
Hmm.
lot of the commercial tracking of the projects, detailing the profitability, understanding the associated costs, which really supports on their side of like tenures and how they bid for their jobs, which is great. We've got that
Hmm.
commercial side sorted, we've got the buying side sorted, and it also has a facilitation to process invoices against the purchase orders and post straight through into Xero, which is lovely. So we've got this one full suite that takes the normal day-to-day person out of the sensitive accounting information that is stored within Xero, because not every person within a business should really be privy to the bank account. For one, they
Probably
shouldn't have to
not.
see that.
Yeah.
So being able to put in these controls in place that helps them out is really lifting up their business. We're also looking at implementing payment software, which helps them turn out that end-to-end process rather than being reliant on a bank file being uploaded into the bank. Very old school process with the open banking and the wallet systems that we've got now. So
Yeah.
implementing a system like that. So we've also looked at bookkeeping, like checks, because there's one accounts team. What if something
Hmm.
was to go wrong? Let's get a system to do that rather than hiring a manager in to be able to check all of that work. So we've
Hmm.
got bringing in systems that do that. So that is really what it looks like at the moment. It's a really big project going really well. Phase 4 is training. So training all the team on their processes, how to use software, what it now looks like, getting their feedback as well during that training process and making them tweaks as we go along, going, actually,
Hmm.
that doesn't quite work like that. Could we have it like this? And we've had a lot of that so far, which is good because it's definitely feedback for myself on how I can do it better, but also aligning it with the company. And then phase 6 is support. Having posts, I don't like to just go, here's all your new systems and processes, see you later. I
Hmm.
think it's a teething process when it comes with new softwares.
Okay.
So being able to be there for post support just on a drop-in basis, where's everything at? Is there any changes that needs to be made and helping them with that? I'm really loving it. This is so different from a normal day to day sitting behind my desk and doing a set of accounts or a tax return. I'm
Yeah.
really liking this change, and I definitely feel like it could be scaled full because there's so many different. I feel really passionate about this. There's so many different softwares out there that aren't being utilized to their full capabilities simply because business owners don't understand the software and don't have the time to actually look into it and get trained on it. And ideally would want someone to just go, here you go, it's done. Teach me how to
Yeah.
use it, it's done. So
Mhm.
for me, the statistic that always sticks in my head is something as simple as bank feeds. 40% of businesses adopt bank feeds in their business, which is like base level one. That's level one with any accounting software. So being able to
Mhm.
actually build on that and going, what's the rest of the automations? What are all your processes look like? How can we get it working to your business? Because not every software is relevant for everybody. That's sort of where I'm at, and I'm really, really loving it. It's a really good
Mhm.
project that I'm working on.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And just from the way you explained, it sounds like, yeah, you're really passionate about it, which is great. And then
Yeah.
how did you go about like connecting with them and then start
Yeah.
working with them?
So that come from a referral, and the reason why it come from a referral is one of the ladies at work that I used to work with, and
Mm-hmm.
but because this is a construction company, one of my backgrounds is construction, and we used to work together. And she gave me a phone call like, "Nick, I use Xero at this job, and I'm trying to do this." And I was like, "Oh well, you can't quite do that with Xero, but you could maybe try it like this." She was like, "Oh no, I'm not too sure about that." She said, "But we really need it to work like this." Like, okay, well, there's definitely other softwares, and it just come from a, well, can you have a conversation with MD? And sat there, had a conversation with the MDs. This was 3 months ago now, so it's a 4 month project we're doing at the moment. So it is a little bit of wingspan across the months, but that's
Mm-hmm.
where it come from. And I mean, I'm really grateful that people have that confidence in me that I used to work with years ago to be able to come to me
Mm-hmm.
now and be like, can you help me out? It's quite
Mm-hmm.
nice. And that's definitely
Yeah.
the vibe that Ginger Books gives is the fact that you can ask us any question and we'll definitely want to be there to help.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Where can people find you if they want to learn a little bit more about what you do?
Sure. So you can find Ginger Books on Instagram at Ginger Books, which is BUCKS_limited. And you can also find me and follow my journey at the Ginger Accountant on Instagram. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn at Nick Lonsdale MAAT. Get my words out. There we go.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll have it in the show notes as well so people can
Amazing.
yeah, just click on
Thank
that
you.
so they don't have to type that all out. Awesome. Well, yeah, great chatting with you. You
Thank
guys have been
you.
watching the Business Growth podcast. Until next time, keep growing.